Rockeyez would like to welcome James Rivera. Hey, man, what's up? What's going on?
Oh, not much, buddy. How you been?
Very good, very good. Kind of busy, but always a pleasure to talk to you. Let's go back to like the early days with Bad Heaven. I mean, when you first started and stepped on stage, what was that feeling like as I guess either a teenager or a youngster, whatever you want to call it?
Well, I guess back then I used, I don't know, it was different. I used to get kind of nervous and stuff. I mean, I wasn't quite sure what the hell I was doing. But I mean, I just enjoyed singing, I guess. So I think back then, a lot of the times, if I remember well, I think I always looked down at the ground a lot. I didn't really look at the audience too much, and that's kind of how it got me through it.
Wow. Very cool.
Which wasn't very good frontmanship. But then again, when you got to think back then, it was backyard parties or it was high school talent shows or whatever. People are sitting down like the Japanese audiences, so they're not exactly all thrashing and sitting up there going,
Right.
So yeah, I just remember it being more of a situation like that.
Cool. Well, how were you in school?
What's that?
How were you in school? What kind of kid were you in school?
I was an honor student.
Cool.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Well, I was out of school when I started singing. I mean,
Right.
Just barely out. But I mean, no, I was the fat, ugly kid that everybody picked on, and everybody wanted to cheat on my test and stuff like that because I knew all the answers to everything. But yeah, so that's kind of funny, Yeah, I would love to go back to my high school reunion these days and go, yeah, I wonder what happened to all you then,
Yeah. Look at your career. I mean, it's still going, and it spanned like decades.
Yeah.
It's a great career so far. And tell me a little bit about the Thrasher project.
God, geez, that was so long ago. Really, what happened there was, at that time, Combat Records was brand new, and I think, let's see, I don't remember, there was only just a few bands on the label at that time,
Right.
that actually they'd made the name Combat, and the Rods was one of them, and Carl Kennedy sort of became, he was sort of like the Bill Matoyer was of Metal Blade in the days, kind of the guy that was kind of producing a lot of the records back in those days and recording it. And I guess at that point he had gotten in pretty tight with the Combat guys, and he decided to put this all together, this all-star, all-together kind of project with all these different people that were merging in the metal scene back in those days, doing the that kind of a genre of metal, and so he just put the thing together, and he contacted some of the best people that he wanted on the project, and that was one of his favorites, I guess, since he did the Burning Star record, and he definitely included me in the whole thing, and that was kind of exciting for me. I mean, because here everything was just beginning,
Right.
and so like my first encounter of doing something pretty cool in a band, like leaving out of town and going to do some kind of cool shit was this, I got to fly to New York and go do the record up there and be put up in a hotel, and yeah, it was cool.
Cool. I mean, I had some fantastic memories. You had Dan Spitz, you had Billy Sheehan. I mean.
Yeah, I know, yeah. It was kind of crazy,
So that was an amazing project. Tell me about your little stint with Flotsam and Jetsam.
Oh yeah, great, man. I had just gotten off a Helstar tour, and I was on tour with Helstar and I think Steel Prophet, I guess it was, and I just got home, and I mean, that day, too, that I just got home, and
Right.
my phone rang, and then I ran and answered it, and then it was Neil. I mean, it was Craig Nelson, and I was like, okay, and he's like, yeah, the drummer for Flotsam. I was like, oh, yeah, hey, dude, what's up, and anyways, it just what happened is they had a whole tour booked, and they were going to be touring on a record that record was called My God at the time, and I guess they got into some disagreements with Eric, the singer, and he decided he was going to quit the band, and he wasn't going to do the tour, and so I guess they freaked out, and they were back on Metal Blade at the time, and they contacted Metal Blade and asked Metal Blade, hey, what do we do, and should we maybe try to find somebody to fill in for him, and who we're going to find to do that anyways, and then that's when Mike Faley from Metal Blade said, wait, hold on a second now, there is one person I know of that could probably pull this off, and so that's how it came about, and told him James Rivera would be the guy to do it, and so that's what happened. And that day he called me. I said, I was very, very honored, and I was like, wow. And I was like, and I was a Flotsam fan, so it wasn't something that I don't think that, it would have been. I felt that it wouldn't have been too hard to do just because I'm familiar with a lot of the stuff. When I'm not familiar at all with a band, then
right.
then it would be. I would have been like, no, there's no way. I don't live and breathe this stuff, so. Yeah, and I said, and he told me the whole scoop, and I said, sure, I'd love to, and then I said, well, what do I need to do? When do I, need to be there for rehearsals? He's like, well, like yesterday. And he goes, the tour starts in 2 weeks, and I'm like, oh, geez, and then I said, man, I said, all right, give me a day, man, and then I rested a day at home, got to enjoy a little bit of a life home, and I was already packed, just kind of threw out the dirty stuff, kept the clean stuff in, put new clean stuff in, and then hit the road 2 days later to Phoenix, and then I went over there and started rehearsing with them, and there you go. So that's how the tour went. That's how the tour started.
Wow. And now you spent a little bit of time with Seven Witches and Jack Frost. How'd that work out? I actually got to see you in New Jersey, where I live, at March Metal Meltdown at the great dilapidated cricket club in Irvington, New Jersey. So, but that was a fantastic show. So, how was your stint with Seven Witches?
Well, I mean, Witches was great. I mean, we did 3 great records now.
Right.
And I got to do some really good touring with Witches. I've got that was the cool thing about being with Witches. We got to do a lot of great tours. Symphony X in the U.S. and Canada, and Overkill in Europe. And we had some great records out. And I think that Witches is the band that really put me on the map of the world as sort of being the powerhouse singer that everybody claims that I am.
Right.
But
definitely.
I mean, I just go by what I read. And it's like I always wondered what that meant. But it's like with this new Malice coming out. I mean, it's like every review or anything that I've read about the new album, it's like it starts off right away, with da-da-da-da-da. Right. And now they have powerhouse singer, like it makes me think of, of that old disco song, Power or something,
Right.
So like,
wow.
But, and I'm like, okay, that's a new one, so, but, anyways, yeah, and I think at that point too, this is where I think my vocals were starting to really, expand their horizons too, as far as capabilities of different styles and everything. But yeah, I mean, and it taught me a lot more about the business. So there was a lot of good things about the whole Witches thing, and like I said, me and Jack still, we're still buds. We still talk, and he's, and I got to spend a lot of time up in Jersey. That was the other cool thing. I kind of missed that, old Red Bank and all that area up there, right. And. But yeah, I mean, that was a cool time period of my life, and like I said, we just did this other record, and, I thought it was going to turn into a lot of things, but, things happen, and, I think that, at least, Jack got to put out another good Seven Witches record that, and I hate to say it that way, but I mean, that's just only the truth through the fans, and there's nothing I can do about that, and
right.
I wish there was some way I can go, well, they're all great, but,
right.
That's not the case, and he knew that, and
right.
he knew that, look, in order for me to put out a really good Witches record again, that the fans just, even over, which Bobby Lucas was a fucking killer singer. I love Bobby. I thought he was really, I mean, if anything at all, it's too bad that there's definitely a lot of bad blood there, but like when I left and it did 2 more records, he should have just got him back. It's because I think there's a lot of similarities between me and Bobby Lucas,
right.
And I think that when I came in, I kind of brought it back to what was originally the Seven Witches kind of style already, anyways. You know, I mean, because that's what I consider the real Witches is the two Bobby albums. The other one in the middle that I came in afterwards, it just, I don't know, there was just something. Not the way he's not a great singer, it's something about it. It just didn't have that feel. And with a band named Seven Witches, you know, you got to think of terms of. It's got to have a dark medieval type of heavy metal feel to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that, but anyways, other than that, I mean, yeah, I think once we did, you know, that's what the whole thing was, putting out another record, and most of the fans considered that, you know, the two Witches records I did that was really the Seven Witches. You know, to them, in their eyes, that's all, that is Seven Witches. And so we did it, and it's probably one of the strongest ones we did. I think it's a good follow-up to, the good mixture of Passage and Year of the Witch.
Cool, cool. Yeah, Bobby, we interviewed about a month or two ago. He definitely admires you, and he talked about you a lot in the interview and stuff like that. He said he was at a show, and you were behind him, and you tapped on his shoulder, and he said he can't believe you knew who I was, and, you know, he was, like, amazed. But he's a big admirer of yours.
Yeah.
You know. So,
oh, that's cool. Yeah, Bobby's a good guy.
Cool, cool. Now let's get to the Malice, New Breed of Gods. There's 12 tracks on there, but 8 are re-releases. How come, you know, they didn't just make the whole CD, all new songs?
Well, I think that the reason for that, and I should say think, although it was the record guy, the SPV, who really said, hey, this is what I think my idea is, but it was originally me that brought it up.
Right.
And when this whole thing happened, you know, really all we did was they just got invited to do Keep It True.
Right.
And they weren't going to get the original singer back ever. You know, he's involved in, I think he's a Buddhist now or something like that.
Okay.
And yeah, okay. You know, and he's got like some really clean, cool life somewhere, right. And you know, he's just not going to ever do it again, and so they knew they had to get somebody else, and there you go again, you know. Yeah, the powerhouse guy, yeah, get powerhouse James Rivera, you know. So, but anyways, but me and Jay were doing a project together, and this thing called Denim and Leather, which was a cool little tribute band to classic '80s metal based in Las Vegas. That's how we really met. Okay, and anyways, but when we started talking about, you know, it was funny because at Keep It True, we were sitting down, we were at the catering area, and we were sitting down eating, and Ali Hahn from SPV comes and he sits down next to us, and he's like, hi, and he was a big Malice fan, and
right.
This and that, and he was wondering, like, you know, is this going to be an ongoing thing, or kind of asking some questions, and then I'm going, looks like this guy might be interested in the band or something, you know, and
right.
So we started talking, and then I said, you know, if this band was to continue, I said, I think, well, no, I'm happy. You know, I like the music. I think everything's great. Because he started asking me more personally, do I like the band? Do I think I'm going to stick around? And
right.
Yeah, you know, and you know, has there been any talks about writing material and blah blah blah? And I said, well, then that's kind of like we're way ahead of the game right now. But one thing I do know, as I said, I think that if we were to get this was to be an ongoing thing, that, you know, that and we were to put out an album, and these guys really want to make a big comeback, you know, because I know Jay did. He really did all along. I was sniffing out the situation, and then I said, I think what would be smart would to take the 8 of the best songs, like on the set list, and Ali hadn't even seen us play yet. We hadn't even played our show yet,
right?
And say, you know, I said, probably re-record them, because that was a long time ago, and they sound much heavier now. When I was in the rehearsal studio with them, and you know, and I said, you know, and I've got a whole different, not a whole different voice. There's some similarities, but I mean, I'm still got my own style, my own stamp, you know, to everything that I'm going to do, and that's just the way it is, you know. Right. You can't take Elvis and make him sound like Paul McCartney. I mean, he can sing some of his songs, and
right.
He might be able to get some of the texture and some of the feel, but that's just, you know, that's Elvis and that's Paul. That's just the way it is, you know. And I said, but the reason why I think that it would be important is 2 reasons. Well, number one, you're going to have a lot of old fans, especially when you lose a strong point of the band, such as the vocalist, because, you know, when I listened to the material, obviously he was a very good singer, and he was a big, strong part of that band. that you know, you're gonna have a lot of old fans be very critical. Okay, and then you're going to even have some that just aren't going to accept it, period. That's just the way it is, you know. And so I said, but if we did this, then it'll give them a chance to relive the Malice, the killer songs that they did love about Malice, and go, well, I didn't get to go to Keep It True and see them with this new band. I mean, only so many people here are going to see that, and then there's the rest of the world when you're talking about an album.
Right.
And then go, well, you know, wow, this is killer, man. You know, I mean, it's not James Neal, but I mean, I dig it, and you know, or you know, man, this is awesome, or dude, this is even better.
Right. Yeah.
Well, okay, I've had from, you know, and I'm honest with myself, and I like to be. I'm not one of those guys that likes to look in the mirror and see, you know, and see Prince Charming, you know, and
right.
I, you know, and I look like Don Juan, but I know I look like fucking Dio, you know. So, so there's no sense of me hitting on every tall blonde in the bar that night, you know. You know, I'm not exactly a peacock over here, you know. I might be a blue jay, you know, but so anyways. You know, it's kind of one of those things where, you know, I've been reading, and so far I was right about my idea, because the majority of the reviews are, it's killer, I love it, it's just as good as it was. And I'm being surprised that I'm even reading about a fourth of the reviews being, this blows away the old.
Right.
Now that really makes me feel good, because that's almost like, oh, take that sweat off your forehead, you know, like, gee, you
Definitely.
know. And then there's, I say it's not even a fourth. I'd say it's more. It's about half. People are liking it as it is and going, okay, I can live with it. I like it. It's cool. It's different, but it's cool. It's great. You've got about a good, I'd say 20%, maybe even more than that. I'd say maybe even up to, you know, 30, almost 35% are going, it's better than it was. It's way better than it was. It's heavy. It's just, oh, James Rivera just did, you know, you guys got to hear this record, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a small percentage of, oh, I'm stuck in 1987. I'm sorry. It's not, the production is too heavy and updated. I'm like, well, we can't get that sound anymore. Those studios don't exist. So go buy fucking Burning Star and the first Omen album, and if that's all you want to hear, go for it. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And yeah, make sure you don't wash that denim jacket, because it's going to fall apart any day now, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think some of those patches need to be resewn too while you're at it. Yeah. But
oh wow, yeah, definitely. A lot of people are stuck in that '80s mold, and like, you know, like, I mean, any band, like you see, even all these bands from the '80s coming back and stuff, and you say, I don't remember them looking like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, where are they? You know,
exactly, right.
You know, like, you know, even Stryper, like, where's the yellow and black?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah. So that was the whole reason. That was the reasoning for that, because we wanted them to go, you know, look, you know, yeah, this is good. Because, see, then when I was saying that, I said, because if you think about it, sure, we can go run off and write 12 new songs, you know, and that's not going to be a problem. But I said the reason for this, like this old fan reason was like, and now I'm right, because if they don't like this with the new singer, they're not going to like 12 new songs with a new singer.
Right.
So why waste our time?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I said, but we do 8 old ones. We do 4 new songs to go, this is what we would be like if we did a whole album. So it's not like we wanted to be lazy and just re-record a bunch of songs.
Right.
It's like, so if you're happy with the way James sounds on all our old stuff, this is what our new stuff's going to sound like. So then that means you're definitely going to love that. Okay, well then now we know we can do a whole new album. All right, you know, and everybody's happy. And that's just what it is. And yeah, because in my time now, with time is precious to me, and really one of the things I'll tell you, Brian, that I think stabs me in the heart more than anything in the world. I don't care what people do to me in the business, but one thing that I hate is writing to what I consider a piece of just art and killer magic, which is my music and my songwriting and my vocals, my lyrics, my melodies, and it goes on an album, and it's out, and it does nothing.
Right.
And then it sits there, you know, and then it's like, okay, there's another piece of my heart gone, you know. Right. So that's why I was kind of being very adamant about that idea. The other reason for re-recording those songs is because, thank God, there is another whole generation of metalheads.
Right.
They're young. Not one of these kids that are wearing Iron Maiden shirts right now at this Keep It True festival that are in their 20s, because now it's two different crowds. It's us older guys that have been around, and now it's all these young kids, which I think most of them are our kids. Maybe that's how it's all started. But the metal generation is a whole new breed again. There's not one of these kids, I guarantee you, that's going to go, Malice, of course. They're going to go, oh, I'm not quite. They're going to scratch their little head with that little finger and go, I'm not sure, but the minute you say, well, they're kind of Judas Priestess-like, oh, then it's worth listening to. They're not going to know any of these songs.
Right.
So the thing is, now we're going to hit these young kids with these songs that were so killer and before their time that still can be listened to today and be accepted by these kids like they're brand new again. They're going to dig it. And see, that's exactly what's happening. But they're going to have to dig it with today's updated versions of these songs, not like they were then, because then it's going to be, it was cool, but it does definitely have that 80s sound to it. Cool. Now, that's the thing about these new kids. They love the 80s style metal again, but they really like the 80s style metal with today's production.
Right.
You can't you can't get them to like the whole package, like, oh, so that really stupid raw production, that but yeah, so basically, that's kind of where that idea, that's how the whole thing came up. And in the end, it ended up working exactly the way I thought it would.
Cool. Now tell me a little bit about the Helstar 30 years of Helstar Metal European tour coming up. What's going on there?
Well, yeah, we celebrated 30 years of being together, and we did a very, very huge show here in our hometown in Houston, Texas, where we recorded the whole show for our first official double live album. Well, I guess it's not albums anymore. I keep using
Everybody
that term.
says it, so.
Yeah, but double live CD. Let me get correct here. Yeah. And then we also filmed the whole show, so it's going to be a live DVD. And let's see what else. We are just about putting the final touches on it now. So yeah, it was a very special show, very huge show here at home for us, and 20 songs, over 2 hours of a show, and we're putting it out, and it's coming out in August 31st is the release date for Europe, and September 15th for America. And we're doing a tour in Europe right when the album comes out. Our first show is August 29th, so it'll be perfect. The record will be out while we're touring and stuff. And but yeah, it was a really cool thing. And we're very proud of it. We're very happy that we're back together, and we just can't believe that it's been that long. It's like Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about, the backyard parties now. But at least by the time by the time I was in Helstar, I could at least look at the crowd. Now I didn't have to look at the ground anymore. So, but yeah, that's what the whole thing is with the 30 years of Helstar. Just going, recording our first double live record and that stuff, and we're excited about it because we never had one. And I was raised on live records. To me, that's what made bands in the day. You had to have a live record. I guess it's different now. It's kind of considered a little bit of a novelty according to the label, but they agreed to do it anyway, so we're happy.
That's cool. Anything else coming up?
Well, no. Other than that, I'm still aside of Helstar and Malice. Doing the recordings, no, but I'm actually doing some shows, doing some in between all this. And Malice is going to do a run from Los Angeles to Texas. We're doing a little week run in July, and and then I still have my Judas Sabbath thing that I do a lot in between all this stuff, which is really cool, and that's got the up to 7-8 chapters now. Most of them in America and one in Europe. And, I go out and do that, too, which allows me to relive my Dio and Halford days when I did the backyard parties and stared at the ground.
Cool. Cool. Anything, you coming east at all?
Well, actually, the closest I'm getting to you, we were talking about a Philly show, but I don't know if that's going to happen just because I haven't heard back from the guy, because it would have had to have been on a Sunday.
Right.
But, I just started a new Pittsburgh chapter that I haven't even played with them yet, and I've got a show booked in Pittsburgh and in Akron, Ohio, at Ripper's Tap House place up there, and that's the closest I'm getting to there for this little run. And then but when I do those shows, from that point is when I just go straight on to Europe.
Right.
So I'm going to be going to Europe from there, and then for the Helstar tour. But no, nothing coming to the East yet.
Okay.
But I do have a guy that brought Helstar up there last summer, and the shows were great. And he's now ready to bring Malice up that way.
Cool.
But we're talking in the fall, maybe something like that.
That's okay. It'll be a little cooler.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Well, I congratulate you on a successful career and one of my favorite singers. And I thank you very much for taking our call. And would you like to say anything in parting?
Oh, well, yeah, I just want to say, hey, thanks for all the support, and to any East Coast fans that I have, or, people that consider me the powerhouse singer. No, just thanks a lot for all the support, and I look forward to seeing you guys up in that area soon, and, I think it'll be a blast to come tour through there with either Helstar or Malice, or, even SJS, if I'm sure that anybody that's listening to this has to be a Black Sabbath Judas Priest fan, so, you guys take care, and until then, I'll see you then.
Thank you, man.
All righty.
Bye-bye.